from Arkansas State University, Rick Guarno. Did I say that right?
Close enough.
What? Say it one more.
I'm Rick Guarno from Arkansas State.
Guarno.
Yeah,
There you go.
and not too bad. Hey, I've built in 2 breaks for us this morning. I know it's 8 to 10 in the morning and it's catching, and so a lot of you, I know it's a lot here with catching. Okay. If I'm in your way, let me know. The clicker, I don't have it just yet, so hopefully I'll have the clicker a little bit later. So if I end up in the way, please let me know, guys in the front. Okay. Guys, hey, first of all, glad to be here. Honored to speak in front of you. He's right. With Easton Bass, we switched to it. We've had him for like 4 days, and watching the exit helos on our hit tracks have jumped up a lot. So he didn't ask me to say that, but seriously, we've been really happy with the switch to Easton. Guys, when I was putting together a presentation for you, I was trying to think what could you guys get the most out of my time up here. So the one thing we're not going to do a whole lot of today is not going to talk a whole lot about catching mechanics. All right, we will address a couple things, but I think what I'm trying to do for you is give you some drills, some ideas, how to incorporate things into practice, how to develop some routines for catchers, and things like that. Okay, how to kind of develop what you're going to do catching wise. Okay. First things first, when I meet with my catchers, the first thing that we talk about day one, and this is posted in each one of their lockers, is defensive run saved is greater than RBIs. One of the best things that I ever heard a coach tell me. Now at the time, I heard it and kind of hurt me a little bit because I was a pretty offensive catcher in college as well. But he told me you will never drive in more runs than you will let in. And what he meant by that was it doesn't matter how many RBI I had on offense, I could hurt our team worse by not doing my job correctly on defense. So this is posted in our lockers. Every single catcher has this posted. It is in color. It is laminated. They know that defense comes first for them. And I say that while saying that our starting catcher also bats cleanup for us. So kind of hits home for him just a little bit on that defensive side. Guys, complete side point. Hey, one thing I heard that was unbelievable a few years back when I was listening to a speaker was I like to give out worksheets, I like to give out handouts so guys can see things. Andy McKay from the Seattle Mariners said, hey, if you hand a guy a sheet, he's going to look at it and you're going to end up finding that crumpled in the bottom of his bag. If you print it in color, you're going to find it at the back of his locker. But if you print it in color and laminate it and hand it to him, nobody wants to throw away anything that's laminated and printed in color. So I've seen the fruits of that. My guys keep it. I'm not saying they look at it again, but they keep it if you want to print it in color and laminate it. Coaching philosophy for catchers. Okay, the number one most important thing, in my opinion, is you must have a plan. If you have a plan for what you're going to do, I think that your guys are going to respond better. They're going to understand that there's a method to your madness. They can see through kind of a lack of organization, I believe, at the high school level, at the college level for sure. If you're just kind of haphazard in your coaching, and it's kind of one of those what are we going to do today type things, I think they can see through that. So my most important thing is you must have a plan. The second thing is be yourself. What's your coaching style? I know my coaching style, and for better or worse, what it is I'm loud. I like to yell to my guys. I like to get pumped up. I like to joke around with them. I like to have fun. And so for me, when we do things, and we'll kind of talk about it later, I have to put punishments ahead of time. Set some kind of ground rules for things we're doing as far as if we're grading them catching a bullpen, or in the game if they have some a list of things that I'm grading them on or watching. I have to put punishments in ahead of time because I'm really empathetic when it comes to catchers. I know how hard it is. And so afterward, when a guy says, well, this happened and this happened, I'm like, man, he's right. I remember that happened to me. That's tough. Okay, so coach your own style. I've kind of realized over time that I can't be the drill sergeant type guy. That's not my personality. I want to talk. I want to laugh with the guys. And so do that. Don't try to be anybody that you're not, because I think the players see through that as well. Okay, they want you to be yourself, no matter what end of the spectrum you may be on with that. Third thing is care for your players. I think we've all heard the saying, players don't care what you know until they know that you care. That's really the truth. The guys are more receptive the longer they're with me. They're more receptive to coaching the more that I've talked to them. the more that I know about them, the more that they've shared with me, they're just more receptive to coaching. One of my big things, and don't take this the wrong way, is I like to touch them. Okay, I like to put my hands on them. I like to touch them while I'm talking to them. I had a great coach one time tell me, hey, when you put your hand on a guy when you're talking to him, not in like an aggressive way, like in a, hey, come here, big guy, when he talk to you, it kind of breaks down that wall of the me versus you, that constructed, that criticism becomes a little bit more receptive to taking that from them. And they know that you care about them, and what you're telling them is for their benefit versus, I had a big learning curve when I was coming up, is I took everything like they were personally attacking me. Well, nobody ever put their arm around me and said, hey man, this is what we can do better, this is how it's going to be better for you and the team and all that. I had one guy who did that, and he's my favorite coach of all time, still, okay? So even if that's not something that's comfortable for you or something that you want to do, I recommend you start trying it. Put your hands on them a little bit. Show them that you love them, they'll listen a whole lot better. And then the last thing is repeat, repetition, but don't repeat. Players get bored. They get bored if you do the exact same thing every single day. High school players, college players don't have the mental ability to do what big leaguers do, and that's the same exact thing every single day. Because big leaguers know it's the best thing for them. They know they're getting a big paycheck at the end of a couple weeks, and they know that it matters for their livelihood. High school players, college players, they don't get that. It just bores them. So you've got to rep them. You've got to get them reps, but you got to be able to change it up. And I'm going to show you here shortly how we do that and some different ways of doing that. But that is important. I think catching sometimes you either don't get enough reps. Right? I know there's a lot of programs, a lot of teams that just don't have a catching coach. Okay? And I get that. And so they either kind of get left behind, and it's one of those just catch bullpens and all that, or it's okay, I only know two things, so let's do it. All right? I'll throw you balls, you receive them, here you go, we'll block them, and let's try to throw down a second, and let's see what we do. That gets boring for the catchers, and I think they can get more out of some different things and kind of keeps them invested just a little bit. What do we look for in a catcher? My second meeting with the catchers, all right, we talk about what I expect out of them, what I'm looking for with them, okay? And the first thing is coachability. And the reason I'm going to give you these 5 things that we're looking for, guys, is I think it's important to tell the catchers, tell them what you're looking for so they know what you value. These are the things that I value as a catching coach. Number 1 is coachability. If those guys aren't receptive to coaching, if they're not willing to hear me out, give me feedback, and try something a little bit different, and then give me more feedback, then we're not going to get better, and we're not going to get better very quickly. Short little story. I'm a storyteller, so I'm going to try to not tell a million stories, but a short little story. My first year in pro ball, I was a fairly high round draft pick, so I'm feeling good about my life, at the time. And I go to instructional league, and instructional league, they have this fantastic day where you sit around, you show up, you sit around, there's a horseshoe, a table set up, and I'm 20 years old. I'm a junior out of college, young junior, I'm 20 years old, I'm sitting there, and it's everybody from your catching coach at your lowest level you played at to the big league GM sitting around. There's like 15 guys. And so real quick, they tell you one thing nice about you. Hey man, you did good this year, loved how you threw the ball. And then they spend the next 20 minutes and tell you all the things that you're terrible at and need to get better. All right, as you're staring at a big league GM who you've never seen before. And the number 1 thing they told me my first year was, hey, you're not very coachable. Not that you're not listening, not that you're making adjustments. Like, you take everything like it's criticism and you don't want to try new things to get defensive. So I said, okay, great, right? I'm 20 years old. I heard you. Full calendar year goes by. I'm in instructional again the second year, and then tell me, hey, you really threw the ball well this year again. Hey, number 1 thing, you're not coachable. So I wasted like a year of my life not getting better fast enough because I still had not learned how to take coaching. And so I kind of took that to heart, and that is the number 1 thing I tell our guys, is they've got to be coachable. You've got to be able to listen to me. You got to give me some feedback. Tell me if you don't like it. We'll try some different things, but coachability is absolutely number 1 thing in improving. 2, work ethic. Guys, if they're not going to work, then they're not going to get better, right? They've got to get repetitions. They've got to put the time in, they got to work hard. I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory, but they're going to have to do that. Third thing is take initiative. With the college rules, and I know you guys as high school coaches or college coaches out there, you're limited in the time you get. You're limited in the days you get with them. You're limited in how much time you can spend with them. I need our catchers to take some initiative and say, hey, coach, I know that we've been doing X, Y, and Z lately, but I need this. Or, hey, can I come in early and do this with you? Can I get some extra work here? I don't know how they're feeling. I know what I see. I know if I see them doing well. I know if I see them doing poorly. Well, that's really easy for me to say, hey, man, you're not blocking the baseball really well. You want to get some extra work. But they could be blocking in a manner that looks fine to me, and they could feel terrible. So I need them to take initiative. I've had this talk with my catchers 4 times this fall because none of them are taking enough initiative to come get extra work in the things that they think they need versus just what I see and what I want to get done. So take initiative. 4th thing is game awareness. That's kind of self-explanatory, right? If the catcher has no idea what's going on, then we're going to have a problem. Catcher's your leader, your defense. If he isn't aware of the game situations that's going on, the game situations that might come up, it's going to be a problem. Catchers can have an enormous impact on our team defense from pitch to pitch, not just when he's actually, like a shortstop, fields the baseball and has a huge impact when he does that. Great impact when he picks the ball and lays down a nice tag. And then the rest of the time, he's just kind of there, right? I mean, yeah, he can talk a little bit, but it doesn't have an enormous impact pitch to pitch like catchers do. And we're going to cover a lot on game awareness here shortly. And then my last thing that I tell them is athletic ability and talent. There's a lot of good catchers out there that have some talent and some athletic ability, but have all the rest and want to do it. And especially at the high school level and the college level, those guys play. All right, those guys play. They don't necessarily make it to the big leagues, but those guys win you games. So that is the last thing that I tell our catchers that they need to worry about is they need to worry about it. Okay, they need to spend some time in the weight room making sure they're getting stronger. They need to go after all the conditioning that we do and the agility and the footwork and things. They need to attack those things to get better. But it's the least important of the 5 things if we're trying to win a baseball game and get better. Expectations. Also want my catchers to know exactly what I expect from them. And this is an on-the-field and an off-the-field thing. What are the expectations for catchers? First thing is leadership. I don't think that you can be a good catcher if you're not comfortable with the idea of leading. We've got a catcher on our team right now who has every tool physically that you could want as a catcher. The other guys see it like, man, I can't, his arm's unbelievable. Gosh, coach, the things he does back there sometimes, absolutely not a leader. Doesn't want to be a leader, doesn't have that in him. And it's kind of frustrating because he can't lead a pitching staff. He doesn't give confidence back to the pitchers on the mound. He doesn't give confidence out to the team. And so he's like our 3rd catcher right now. He's like 3rd string because he doesn't do any of that for the team, and they need that. Second thing is to set an example. I want our catchers to set an example, not only for how to go about your business on the field, but how to go about your business off the field. And that doesn't necessarily mean, for a college guy, hey, you have to go to bed at 8 o'clock every night, and you got to get your 10 hours of sleep, and you got to, make your protein shake in the morning and all that kind of stuff. What it means is, if we have weights on Friday morning, he needs to be the guy that is kind of helping those guys along and saying, hey, forget going out Thursday night, Friday night, it's fine. Okay, we've got to get up early. In the weight room, working hard and making sure we're not skipping reps, making sure we're attacking our sets, all of those things to lead by example, but also show some leadership and be able to talk guys through things. Our starting catcher, we meet roughly once a week specifically on how to set appropriate example and leadership because he wants it and just doesn't know how. And guys, I think that you'll find, and this isn't only for catchers, this is for anybody on your team, those guys that have those natural leadership abilities, remember that they're still young. They're 15, 16, 17, 21 years old. They don't know how to lead. They might want to. And so I think our job as coaches a lot of times is to help develop that. How to become a leader. I I'm a leader by nature, but I continue reading up on how to become a leader. I continue reading up on how to teach it because it's important. You're going to have those guys in your program that say, hey, he's a natural leader, but that guy needs guidance as well. So just throwing that at you, don't be afraid to take those leaders and give them some extra time helping them along. It's going to help your program in the long run. What I find is, and what a lot of coaches find, and I'm sure you do too, when your players are taking care of some things for you and putting less on your plate, it comes through better to the other players on the team. So when our starting catcher gets on one of our freshmen for skipping reps in the weight room, a whole lot better than if our strength coach does it. Or if I tell them, hey, I heard you were skipping reps in the weight room, or I saw it even though I'm not your strength coach. It comes through a lot better for those guys. Game awareness is going to keep coming up, guys. Game awareness. We will get to that. I'm going to show you how to teach game awareness here shortly. Fourth thing is being vocal. And I don't mean rah-rah, because that wasn't me as a player, and it's not a lot of guys, right? It is some guys, right? It's some guys, that's their nature to rah-rah, clap, cheer, yell, chant, the whole thing. I just need catchers to be vocal enough to be able to command a defense, to be vocal enough to be heard when necessary, to be vocal enough to be willing to say something when it's necessary and be a presence behind the plate. Work hard, don't need a whole lot of explanation there. If you got to work hard, you need to work hard, right? What I tell guys, it's the hardest position on the field. You're going to be more tired at the end of the game than anybody but maybe the starting pitcher. Probably more tired than that guy. Okay, so it's the hardest position on the field. You have to be the hardest workers. Otherwise, you're not going to set yourself up for being able to deal with that. Last thing is good body language. Here's a huge one. As we talk about this a ton. Hey, real quick, guys. At the very, very end, I see a couple guys taking pictures and stuff. Any video I show today, I'll put my contact info up at the end. I've got it on YouTube posted, and it's unlisted, so you're not going to be able to search and find it. But if later on, you can get any video I have. And if you want any of the slides or anything like that, I'll put my contact info up at the end, so you don't have to do anything if you don't want to. Okay? I know it's hard. I've been that guy trying to zoom in before and take pictures, and I look back 3 days later and I have no idea what I'm looking at. So, good body language. Catcher is the only position on the field facing the other direction. 8 guys are facing into the plate, and 1 guy is facing back out at everybody. So on defense, where do your eyes end up focusing on? Whether it's on purpose or by accident, you end up looking at the catcher. Right? The catcher's there at the batter and the umpire. 3 guys are all standing in a little circle. It's an easy place to focus your eyes. If a catcher has good body language, it can be a very positive effect on our program, positive effect on the guys on defense. It can be uplifting and encouraging to them. If a catcher has bad body language, it's very, very easy for those other 8 guys to see that and say, man, catcher, leader on the team, guy who's in on every pitch, he doesn't have any faith in our pitcher today. He's out there, he's down. And now he starts talking to himself, whether they would mean to or not, and then bad body language spreads. I think that our catchers can show good body language, and it can have a huge effect mentally and physically on our team, whether they mean to or not. They could be completely mentally out of it. And if they just stand there like they're not, it's a huge uplift for the team. I think that's really, really important. All right, fundamentals. When I say catching fundamentals, I have a list for my catchers. These are the things that I'm going to hold them accountable for. Receiving, blocking, throwing, obviously. Right? Throwing to bases, throwing on pitch outs, and throwing for picks. Signal giving. I don't mean signal giving just behind the plate giving signs to the pitcher. I mean signal giving first and thirds, bunt defenses, all of those things. I think there's a wrong way to do it. Not only one right way, but I think there's a bunch of wrong ways to do it. So I teach them how to do that and hold them accountable for doing it correctly. Tag plays to the plate. I know that they've been changing the rules on how much contact you can have at the plate, but it's still a collision, it's still contact, it's still a lot of things can happen in tag plays to the plate. So I want my guys to be able to know how to do it correctly, and then hold them accountable for actually doing it correctly. I remember a bunch of years ago when Buster Posey broke his ankle and got played at the plate, and then all of a sudden that's when all the rule changes started. I remember where I was that night, and I was watching that play. It wasn't 2 minutes before I had already texted all of my catchers to tell them, Go watch that play, and Buster Posey, maybe the best catcher in the big leagues, put himself in a position to break his leg. If he had done things correctly, physically, fundamentally, mechanically, maybe he doesn't get the out, but I promise he doesn't get hurt. And so I hold them accountable for their own safety, for their own health, and things like that. Fielding bunts, we teach fielding bunts. Oh my God, guys, we go over fielding bunts way more than any catcher would ever expect, because when do teams bunt? They bunt late in the game, when it's important, and we have to get an out. So we go over fielding bunts. Oh my gosh, they get so sick of it. But you know what? That once or twice a year, when they make a great play on a bunt, that kid's not remembering all those times when he was so just, oh my God, why are we doing bunts again? He's just so pumped he did it right, we got the out. And I'll take that. I don't care. They can deal with all the extra reps if it means we're going to win a game. Catching pop-ups. Double play footwork, how to do it correctly, so you throw accurately, how to do it correctly so we get the out, how to do it correctly so that runner coming in from third doesn't, hit our foot. Earlier when I said, guys, I like to relate to my players, I like to talk to them, I can empathize with them. Plays of the plate, I remember vividly, one play that I ever had as far as a double play ever in my whole life. I'm sure I turned them before, but I remember one time when we had the bases loaded in a big game in Bakersfield, California, in the California League, and man, we get the out at home, and I come up and I throw this ball, and as I'm throwing it, runner slides into my foot, and I threw this thing like 300 feet up the right field line. And by the time, the ball gets back in, like everybody had scored, and I remember my manager, I don't even want to talk about what he said to me, okay? But you're going to remember that. And so double play, footwork, and how to go about it, unbelievably important, again, because basically a lot of guys are talking about runs here. So we go over that a lot. CRT, cut relay tandem. Cut relay tandem is communication. You got to get the communication right. Communication is different for a regular cut play. It's different for a relay play, and it's different for a tandem or a double cut, whatever you want to call it. The wording isn't different. The expectations of what we're yelling out there is different. And the last one is wild pitch or pass ball recovery. How to correctly go field that baseball that you either just didn't catch or the guy threw to the backstop, right? We all have those pitchers that just like to, every once in a while, just throw one clear up the net. How to properly, correctly go get that ball to put us in the best position to actually get it out of the plate. Now, we might never get that out, but we're going to do it correctly and put ourselves in a position to do that. Also tell my guys a list of things that are completely unacceptable as a catcher. I want them to know ahead of time, these are the things that I'm going to get on you for. And don't say I didn't tell you. So, unacceptable. Drop pitches, right? Now, that's got to be number one. That's the biggest one. You're a catcher, all right? You're not a dropper. You're not a retriever. You're a catcher. It's in the name of your position. Catch the baseball. If you can't catch the baseball, you better hit because there's only one DH, or sometimes two, right, with the extra hitter. I know that in summer ball and whatnot. If you can't catch the baseball, then you should probably play soccer. And my guys laugh. I tell them that all the time. I tell them one of two things. Either if you can't catch the baseball, go play soccer. If you can't do all the other stuff, go play left field. Or hit, because there's a DH, right? Getting beat 5-hole. All the dirt that goes through your legs. Guys, I understand there's a lot of different pitches that we might miss and things could happen, but between your legs is 100% unacceptable. I tell our guys, I don't care if the pitcher's throwing 300 miles an hour. I don't care what happened. I don't care if you hit a rock over here, and it cannot ever happen, getting beat 5-hole. Delayed steal. Delayed steal cannot be ever on a catcher. I am 100% okay, and not everybody likes to hear this, but I am okay with it. If my catcher sees a delayed steal, comes up, and throws the ball right over second base while both middle infielders stand there. It doesn't bother me in the least. I tell those guys, if you wear that air, I'm fine with it. I will defend you to every coach on our staff, because what are those two middle guys doing? Right? What are they doing? But I tell my guys a lot of times, guys, and I want them to understand this, I talk about it a lot with them, is do your job as a catcher. Do your job. So if and when there is blame to put on somebody, it's not on you. And I don't mean that as a blame shifting, it's somebody else's fault. I mean, if something went wrong, You better have done everything that you are supposed to do. So if something went wrong, it is not your fault. It's not on you. So if he comes up on the delayed steal and doesn't throw the baseball because the middle infielder hadn't moved yet, I'm going to blame the catcher first because he didn't throw the baseball. So that's his fault. Don't tell me, well, I didn't throw it because they didn't move. Well, maybe they didn't move because they didn't think you were going to throw the ball. Etc. Whatever. We could have a discussion, go around and around all day with that. So I tell our catchers all the time, here's your expectations, do your job. So that way, if something goes wrong, we're not shifting blame, we're not trying to blame anybody else, but it better not be your fault. It's kind of the message I tell them. Missing signs, getting signs wrong or not knowing signs, pretty obvious. I'm not sure about everybody at the high school level, at the college level. Most pitching coaches call pitches. Head coaches are sending in bunt defenses in first and third plays and things like that. You can't miss them, you can't get them wrong, you certainly can't not know them. Okay, completely unacceptable. That's just a memorization thing. If our team GPA is going to continue to be over a 3.1, I know you can memorize stuff, guys. Okay? A little shout out to Coach Rathel on the academic side of things. Arkansas State, we're pretty smart. You have to know them. Those are just memorization things. Okay? Not backing up first base. Have to back up first base every time it's appropriate. A little side note on backing up first base, guys. One of the things that we go over with backing up first base is knowing when to go ahead and actually vacate home plate. So I hate to see, runner on third, infield's back, and the catcher doesn't go to back up first base because, well, there's a runner on third. Well, yeah, but we're fielding the ground ball and throwing it to first, and that guy's going to score even if he trips and falls and somersaults in. So go back up first base. That's more important. Okay? And so knowing when to back up first base, we teach our guys with a guy on first base in a double play situation. As soon as that ground ball is hit, start to go back up. And if we get the out at second and we're going to turn that, go ahead and continue. And if we don't, guy bobbles it and goes to first, we've got plenty of time to go ahead and get back to the plate. I'd rather have you moving in the right direction rather than not going at all. Lack of loud communication. Again, I don't need a guy being a rah-rah all the time, but I need them to be able to communicate loudly. I know, high school and a lot of college baseball games, you don't have a million fans there, so you don't necessarily need to be loud all the time. But we're going to play weekends that are big weekends where we get a lot of fans. You're going to play games against your rival where there's a whole lot more people than normal. You're going to play district games and state championship games where there's more fans than they're used to. And if those catchers are used to only being loud enough to drown out the 5 people in the stands or the 10 people in the stands, all of a sudden if we put 400 or 500, or if we're in a big weekend and we've got 4,000, yeah, it's unacceptable. We can't do that. We have to be loud when we communicate. Not flipping with the third baseman on bunts. Third baseman runs in to field a bunt. He throws to first, who's covering third base. I don't want the shortstop there, right? Shortstop's got to go to second base. Second baseman needs to go behind first. Who's covering third? I definitely don't want the pitcher doing anything that requires him to do something outside of throwing a pitch if we can help it. So flipping with that third baseman, right? Third baseman fields the ball. He makes a great throw because he's so good. He comes in. He's got the plate now. Catcher goes to third base. Completely unacceptable if they don't do that. If they don't do that, even when the bunt surprises them, which should never happen. Even when they don't, they have to know that is second nature to them. And the last thing, guys, most of the things that I tell my catchers, physical mistakes happen. I get that, besides catching the baseball. But, and I didn't put one on there, throwing the ball away on bunts, double plays, or pickoffs. Those are the 3 times it is completely unacceptable to make a physical mistake and a physical error. All right, so we practice pickoffs. I can't believe I didn't put pickoffs on there. We practice bunts, we practice double plays, and we practice picking off all the time because it is more important to throw the ball accurately than it is to get the out for pickoffs. And for bunts and double plays, bunts, we should get the out anyway. Double plays, we get the out at home plate first. The accurate throw to first means more than anything else. More than the out, the accurate throw. I think I saw in the playoffs this year, was it Christian Vasquez with the Red Sox did that? Played at the plate or a bunt or something like that, and he threw to first and threw it up the line, and that's runs. So I don't care if we get the out, it has to be an accurate throw. And again, on pickoffs, I can't believe I didn't put that up there. We practice pickoffs all the time. We do it with just nobody out there, catcher standing at first base. And if they don't throw a ball to the catcher and catch it out moving, they know what I'm going to say to them. Okay? Completely unacceptable. All right, teaching fundamentals. And we're getting to a break here shortly, guys. I'm going to let you stand up and move around. I've been up for a long time, getting the caffeine in me so I can go a long time here, but I'll give you a break in a second. Teaching fundamentals. Guys, I told you at the start, we're not going to go over a whole lot of teaching fundamentals today because that takes time, which I've got after this. If anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to put on a fundamental clinic out in the lobby. But I don't think that's best served for you. But, hey, here's some guys that if you want to do some research and learn about catching, okay, I'm going to give a shout out to these guys, and they don't know I did this. Jerry Weinstein, the @ is the Twitter handle, guys, because Twitter baseball coaching is blown up, and a lot of it's terrible, and a lot of it's really good, though. J1 Catching, Jerry Weinstein also has WeinsteinBaseball.com as his website. I actually played under Jerry Weinstein. He coached me for a couple years in pro ball. Zan Barksdale from Catching 101, who does Team USA stuff with the younger guys. The catching guy, Todd Coburn, D1 Catching, who is Tanner Swanson, who is the minor league coordinator with the Twins. And Catch Block Throw, which is Tom Griffin, the head coach at Carson Newman, which is Division II out in Tennessee. All Twitter pages, all websites, all guys. If you want to learn about fundamentals, guys, they're going to agree on 90+% of what we're talking about anyway. And it's going to save me a lot of time, and that we can get to some more important stuff, I think. But those are some really good guys, really good Twitter pages to look at. I talk about physical fundamentals. Jerry Weinstein puts up 1 million videos. All those other guys put up a lot of things all the time. Okay, we woke up real fast. A couple of important things with everything as we're going here. Receiving. Everything we do is for the umpire. Little fun thing that we do with our guys a lot is we're catching bullpens, and it's really never more than 2 guys going at a time, but we've got 5 catchers in our program right now. So what do the other 3 guys do? We do one of 2 things. We either are with me off to the side doing some catching work, or I make them umpire. I make them stand behind there. Well, first I have to show them like where an umpire stands and how they do it, because they have no idea. Like high school kids and college guys have no idea like what the umpire is really supposed to do back there. So first I have to teach them where to set up, okay? And then I have them give feedback to their teammates as they're catching baseball. What do they see? How much movement is a ball or a strike? Did I like how you presented that pitch or not? It's unbelievable for these guys. It blew my mind the first time I ever did it. I was like, this is dumb, but I'm going to do it because we have a few extra catchers. Oh my gosh. It was the greatest thing. We have never stopped since then. Make your guys umpire. Make your guys stand back there. Make them give their teammates feedback on what they see, what looks good, what doesn't look good, what they think is a strike. Have them talk a little bit. It's awesome. So my receiving things, the things that I tell my guys are super important. One, I want a good target. All right, no matter, I don't care what level you're at until you're Greg Maddox. That pitcher is looking at the target. He's looking at your glove. I'm not a huge fan of not putting out a good target for those guys to focus on. Second is glove timing. Too many catchers want to go ahead and show a target. You want to show a target and then kind of keep it there while they're catching. And the longer they're there, the stiffer they get. So I make them do some sort of glove timing, whether it's a drop of glove, whether it's a quarter turn, whether a lot of different ways to get some glove timing, relax that wrist, and be able to move to a baseball better. Third thing is what I tell them all the time, we're not framing, we're presenting the pitch. We're presenting the pitch to the umpire for him to understand that we think it's a strike. So I'm presenting it in a manner that I think is a strike. So I tell my guys, the pitch is a definite ball. Don't be that kid who's out here grabbing balls and holding them or yanking them in too far. You look like an idiot, and you're going to annoy the umpire. Okay, so present any pitch that you think is a strike, present it to the umpire like you do. And the fourth thing is timing. I thought a lot about what's right there, but timing is literally what it is. But I mean timing as to when am I meeting the baseball, what am I trying to do with it? If I get to a spot too early, that ball hits me and moves. If I get to it too late, same thing, I'm still moving in a direction as the ball hits me. So we practice so much of our receiving literally on the timing of when am I actually catching the baseball, so I'm in a strong position, so I can manipulate the ball a little bit, so I don't have any extra movement where I go to the pitch and it moves me, or I go to the pitch and I take it out of the zone. So we talk about the timing of literally when does my glove hit the baseball. And if you'll see, the way catching has gone in the big leagues here the last couple of years, you see a lot more catchers manipulating the ball more than ever. in a sense of, especially the low pitch, we practice that a lot, okay? We practice probably 3 different ways to catch the low pitch, but one of them is what you're seeing in the big leagues right now about bringing the ball kind of almost violently up into the zone. Like Tyler Flowers of the Braves last year was the #1 catcher for strike percent, like stealing strikes on the outer parts of the zone that the computers think are balls. And he is pretty violent and aggressive about it. Well, if that's the way we're headed, we're going to practice it. So the biggest thing for a guy like him is his timing is impeccable about when on his way up is he catching the baseball, when on his way towards the zone is he catching the baseball. Blocking. Number 1 thing is to block the ball in front of you using proper chest angles. I know that a lot of coaches, and I was taught this way when I was growing up, a lot of coaches say, hey, block the ball back to home plate. I heard that so much growing up. I hope that you guys don't say that because home plate doesn't move. Home plate doesn't move, but the catcher moves all the time, right? If I'm going to my right to block the baseball, what good does it do if I block the ball back to home plate if that's not where I am? So, block the ball in front of you is what I tell my guys all the time. We're trying to block the ball to myself, and then once we get really good, I'm not trying to block the ball in front of myself, I'm trying to block it to my arm side. So, quickly, the only actual mechanical thing I'll really go over today is I tell my guys, hey, when we throw a breaking ball, A, we need to expect it to be in the dirt, and B, we know which way it's going to go if he does bounce it. If a right-hander, I call a breaking ball so I know it's coming, which you'd be surprised how many catchers are shocked that they called the breaking ball and then the guy bounced it, right? Like they can't believe that happened. Okay, so every time we call a breaking ball, we're going to expect it in the dirt. But a right-hander, guys, a right-hander, when he bounces a breaking ball, does he ever bounce it in the right-handed batter's box? No, they bounce it middle or over the left-handed batter's box and they yank it. It's so almost impossible to throw a breaking ball that I'm going to leave in the right-handed batter's box that is also going to break into the dirt. So we know where I'm going. So if I call a right-handed breaking ball, I know I'm going to block middle or to my right. Same thing with a left-hander. I know if a left-hander is throwing a breaking ball, I'm going to block middle or to my left. So with that, I think, and our guys get good at that for a while, you can do 2 completely different things if you want to. Because you already know. I call a right-hander, I block in this direction. So for a right-hander, guys, I teach my guys to keep themselves squared up, straight to the pitcher as they go to block the baseball. And the reason is, as that ball is coming this way to hit the dirt, I want it to hit in the middle of my body. And if it's moving this way a little bit and it comes off, it's going to be on my arm side of my body or right in the middle. Well, I want it in the middle of my arm side because 90% of the time it's a guy moving to second base, right? Base runners are terrible at taking the dirt ball from second to third, which I preach to our guys all the time. Like that's the hardest throw for the catchers to pick up the baseball and throw to third. So we're getting pretty good at it. But I want them to block between me and second base. So if I stay squared up as I'm moving and that ball's middle to my arm side, it's right in line with where I'm going. Now with the left-hander, I want our guys to actually round that off just a little bit. And I've got some videos later where you'll see that. Our left-handed breaking balls, guys round that off. A couple reasons. One is they block less left-handed breaking balls, right? There's less left-handed pitchers. We do less left-handed work. It makes them feel more comfortable. If they can get around that just a little bit, it makes them feel better and more confident in their block. But also, if I'm at an angle here on the lefty, and that hits me and bounces off, between me and second base, where's that ball? It's now on my arm side again. So I teach our guys to do 2 different things with their chest angles. My quick blocking points, I want my guys to make sure we lead with the glove. Okay, there's going to be a lot of times where they don't quite get to a pitch with their body, but they lead with the glove and it can save them pitches. It can save them balls in the dirt. Second thing is to practice pushing off the inside of their opposite foot. So if I'm going on my right, push off the inside of my left foot. How many of your catchers want to swing their butt instead, right? That's slower. It's not as explosive. Our guys get to the college level. We get junior college guys that come in as third-year guys and still want to block the baseball by swinging their butt around. Okay, it's not the best way to go about things. So we have to practice pushing off the inside of their opposite foot. Third thing is your feet never leave the ground. Too many guys want to either kick their feet out or when they do swing their butt, their feet come off the ground for a second. Any split second when our feet are off the ground is a split second when the ball might go underneath us. Okay, so that's not something we want. The fourth thing is more of a mental thing for our catchers. I want them to be a pillow, not a wall. Don't think about being that wall, right? We've all seen either like playing ping pong against the wall or tennis. You see the tennis courts that have like a wall there. And what happens when you hit that ball off that wall? Man, that thing bounces off. Well, that's not what we're trying to do. All right, but if I throw the ball into a net or a pillow or pick something soft, what happens to that baseball? It just drops. So I want them physically to think about being a pillow, not a wall. And I teach them how to do that and all. But then the last thing is throwing. My throwing points that I teach our guys and that are important to me, we teach a left knee trigger, which basically is just a way, guys, of saying they have to have some movement before they catch the ball. We cannot be down here, catch the ball, and then go through all of our footwork and everything. Okay? I see too many guys that do that. We have a guy who caught a lot of games last year. I still can't get him to stop doing that. We go over it, over and over again. So what I teach them is left knee trigger. Basically, here we are. They're going to trigger that left knee forward. Okay? It gets them to break that just sitting there stuck. Left knee forward, gets some movement, leads them into their footwork. Okay? We talk about some different things with guys, but that's my foundation where I start with, and we can talk about it differently with other guys. Second thing is to stay online and open with our feet. And you'll see them drill in a minute with the video after the break. But what I mean by that is I take them and draw an invisible line, or I put a line sometimes right in the middle of their body. I want their right foot to go on that line, and I want their left foot to be just open from that line. Okay, when we're throwing, if I'm here, as long as my shoulders get closed, I'm fine to throw to second base. But if I close myself off, what too many catchers want to do, now you're fighting rotationally to throw. You can't get your hips through the baseball, and it's a little bit of a struggle. I tell them catching throwing is different than pitching throwing. So if you're pitching, you get some of the guys that step across. They've got momentum. They're going downhill. They've got all sorts of momentum that can get them through their front side if they're closed off. From catching, we're going the opposite way. We're going from down to up a little bit, generating all of that ourselves. If I'm open a little bit, I can get through that ball with my hip and put my backside into it, and it's easier to stay on line. Third thing is exchange wear. I don't teach one specific exchange spot. I think that in general, most of your catchers are going to exchange right in the middle of your body, middle of your chest, right here in between your chest, right in the middle. But different catchers are going to throw different ways. Okay? Me personally, when I caught, I wanted to transfer on my right shoulder. I didn't want to get it here. I want to get it here. I had a really good catcher 5 or 6 years ago who had like a weird throwing motion, but he was really good. And so he'd come across his face, exchange here, and then from there, that's how he threw. Well, it worked for him. That's how we threw. He had a good arm. So we just need to figure out where they're exchanging the baseball, so that way we can drill it. We can make sure they do it correctly every time. Make sure they're consistent. And the fourth thing is keeping your glove, once we do throw, tight to your chest. I tell our guys all the time, my teaching point on that is the front arm can do very, very little to help you throw as a catcher, but it can do a whole lot to hurt you. Okay, so if I get this front arm and it's wide and sweeping around, my glove weighs something, right? So if I get a little weight going, it's going to swing me God knows where. But if I keep that thing tight, maybe it's not going to help me throw harder, but it's going to keep me on line where I want to go rather than taking me somewhere else. Okay? So we practice that a lot, is keeping that glove tight to the chest. Okay, last thing that we're going to break after this. Okay, and I promise that it's just like last night with Coach Lamonis. Videos are coming in the second one. Okay, got to cover a whole bunch of things first. Game awareness. Game awareness is one of those things that, well, there's a number of ways to teach it. One of those ways is, guys, we could just have the catchers over to our house every single day, and we could watch baseball nightly and go over every single scenario that comes up in the game. And we could watch baseball for months, and something might come up once or twice, and we hope to God that they remember it, and that when it comes up in the game, they're on top of it. That is not probably the best way to do it. For the record, I do that with my catchers. I had them over 4 times this fall to watch baseball. Not only fed them the first time, because that gets expensive. Those catchers to really eat. Okay? I had them over 4 times, and I told them, guys, you don't watch enough baseball. You're coming over tonight. I'm going to feed you. You're going to watch baseball. It's incredible. Like, some of these guys have no idea who big league catchers are. They don't know who big league players are. Like, they don't watch baseball. And so I had them over and made them watch baseball. But I know we don't all have time for that. Guys, I would do it twice a week if I had time for it and my wife would let me. Okay? Because it'd be for the better of the program. But we don't. So, game awareness. First thing you got to understand is typically, only a limited number of things are going to happen or can happen with the situation we're in. I know baseball is a beautiful game where a million different things can happen at any point in time, and as plays develop, different things can happen. The game's fluid, but guys, there's a very limited number of things that are going to happen at any point in time, typically. Okay? So the question becomes how to teach it. How to teach it so we can actually get through to our guys some sense of game awareness. Well, what I'm about to show you is not anything that I came up with. Guys, I had a phenomenal catching coach named Fred Kendall when I was in the minors. Fred Kendall, you might remember Jason Kendall, the catcher for the Pirates. It's his dad. Was my catching coach, was a bullpen coach in the big leagues for a while, was a bench coach, like huge, unbelievable, 50 years in the big leagues or whatever. Unbelievable guy when it comes to this. So what I tell our guys is before each pitch or batter, and I say each pitch because theoretically we all know from pitch to pitch things can change. But most of this stuff is before the batter. Something to be aware of. Okay, most of the pitch. Before each pitch or batter, there's 7 things. 7 things that I need our catchers to be accounting for. And if they account for those 7 things, that's going to cover 99%. I made that number up, but it's most of it. 99% of the things that can happen. Okay? Before I start talking this, one thing that's very, very important. When we're covering these 7 things, a lot of it has to do with some communication to the defense in the infield. Okay? I want them to have this communication to do this, whatever it is, and I'll talk about the kind of some hand signals that we use. I want them to do this in front of home plate. Okay? Where's everybody used to the catcher sitting, right? He's down and he's behind home plate. If a catcher stands up and comes out in front of home plate, even that right fielder who's not paying attention, is just picking dandelions out of right field, is like, whoa, what's he doing? Why is he out there, right? It really draws attention to the catcher. Now, we have to talk about the timing of it. I don't want them to waste our time, okay? But I want them to stand up in front of home plate to do this. The first thing, very, very simple, we start with, guys, got to know how many outs there are, okay? Got to know how many outs there are, and I want you to tell how many outs there are to the team, okay? So, if it's the start of the inning, here's an example. We throw the ball down to second base, all right? I'm standing up already. I take one more step out in front of home plate. Hey, we got none, just as a reminder. That's a simple one, right, obviously. But after a play, let's say that first guy grounds up to second, I'm backing up first base. I want my guys, as they come back, don't go back behind the plate, squat down, and go, oh, I need to. No, run right now, run right to the front of home plate, stop, turn around. Everybody's going to look at you real quick, and just tell them how many outs there are, okay? That way we keep the game going, because I know we don't need slower baseball games, okay? I love baseball. I want to play every single day. But I don't want to be out there for 4 hours any more than you do for a game, okay? Second thing is a left-handed hitter at bat? Or, they need to know, is a left-handed hitter going to be on deck? If a left-handed hitter is at bat or coming up to the plate, I want them, when they're out in front of home plate, to tell the pitcher, get his attention, and say, hey, you got to get over on the ground ball. Just as a reminder, pitchers have a lot on their plate, right? They've got to get this on. They got to think about all the million things they shouldn't think about, and then they have to try to throw a strike in the spot that they just called it, and sometimes they have to try to remember halfway through there what pitch they were trying to throw in the first place because they're pitchers, and I don't trust them. Okay, so just a quick reminder, hey, tell them to get over. Get over on the ground ball. This little bit goes back, and all of these things go back to when I said you've got to make sure that things aren't your fault as a catcher. Pitcher doesn't cover first base. The first thing I'm going to ask the catcher is, did you tell him to get over before the batter? If my guy says yes, pat him on the butt, hey, great job. Way to remind him. Okay? If he doesn't cover, I can't control that, right? But he better tell him. Third thing is the hitter a bunt possibility? Is it a bunt possibility situation? If it is, while I'm out there in front of home plate real quick, typically for a drag bunt guy with nobody on base, just remind that third baseman, hey, watch that bunt. Just give a little hand signal like a bunt. You don't even have to say it if you don't want to, as long as you're seeing him. If you see it, hey, watch the bunt. Just reminds that third baseman not to get caught off guard if the guy does bunt. Okay? If he's a take it with him type of guy, he's going to bunt, push bunt, or whatever. Yes, you can remind the first baseman. Yes, you can remind whoever else. Doesn't need to be getting everybody's attention individually, but quickly just kind of show him, hey, he might bunt, or guy the first, hey, he's a push possibility. Just reminds those infielders, right? It's real easy in the infield. You haven't got a ball in four innings, and you're just kind of pacing around. Now the third base coach is yapping at you because he wants to get you back, right? So now we get that drag. You got to just remind them. Just kind of keep their head in the game a little bit. The fourth thing is there a steal threat on base? If there's a steal threat on base, guys, that's mainly for the catcher to know, but also I'm okay with our guys reminding the pitcher. Remind the pitcher that, hey, that guy likes to run. Again, pitchers have a lot on their plate. They don't remember everything. So remind him, hey, that guy in first base, he can really run now. Just keeps in their head a little bit. Maybe I need to be a little quicker at the plate. Maybe I need to mix my times, whatever I'm asking. Steal threat, though, is mainly for the catcher. Remember, I cannot get caught off guard. Okay? Is there delayed steal threat on base? Because those are different guys typically, right? Steal threat versus delayed steal threat is different guys. All right? If it is, I also want those middle guys to remember. So I have my guys get the middle's attentions, and what we use is this. Hey, heads up delay, right here. Just to remind them, follow that guy on his secondary to make sure he's either going to get back or if he takes off, he can't be late. Okay, so just remind him, heads up delay. One thing about catchers, guys, when it comes to steals, delayed steals, when catchers have to throw, this is one thing I've had to but tell every head coach I've ever coached under. I don't care if the first baseman, third baseman, short, I don't care if the dugout ever yells runner. Because it is not anybody's job to see that runner except the catcher. Okay? I teach our catchers that is 100% on them. Even if a left-handed batter's up and I'm down here, when that guy lifts his leg, I know that even the fastest pitchers are a 1-1 maybe. Let's call it 1 flat. If in 1 second I can't go from here to here and back, again, you can go play left field. All right? Because things happen a little slower out there. All right? On the delayed steal, it's on the catcher, guys. I tell my catchers all the time, don't ever, ever, ever tell me you didn't see him go. Don't ever tell me that nobody yelled runner. Don't ever tell me you didn't hear him yell runner, because I don't care. It's 100% on the catcher. Sixth thing is a hit-and-run possibility. If it's a hit-and-run possibility, same thing with those middle guys. We know as coaches, the middle guys need to stay home, right? They can't just take off as soon as the guy steals because he might put the ball in play. You got to hold their ground, wait till the ball passes the plate, and then go. Okay, so just get those middle guys' attention. I tell them, and this is what we do. Hey, heads up, hit and run. Okay, just as a reminder to those middle guys, hold your ground if this guy goes. And the last thing, it's a lot of numbers, guys. Okay, it's the 1-4-3, 1-6-3, 5-2-3, 3-2-3, and 1-2-3. It's all of those double play possibilities. All right, so if it's the 1-4-3, 1-6-3 double play possibility, I want them while they're out in front of home plate to get that pitcher's attention and tell them, hey, know who you got back there. Just know who you got. I don't need our pitchers, again, lot on their plate. I don't need them catching a ground ball, being super pumped already they actually caught it because they don't catch them a lot of the time. Okay? Turn around and, pitchers always want to try to figure out who they're throwing to. They don't want to just throw the bat, right? They want to know who. And all of a sudden they're here and you're shuffling trying to figure out who they're throwing to. I want them to know ahead of time, who am I going with? Okay? If we ever have a problem with the pitchers not knowing who they threw it to and they throw it away, the first thing I ask my catchers, did you tell them? If you told them, great. Come on, pitchers, right? We got to figure this out. 5-2-3, 3-2-3. So you have the double plays with the bases loaded. Just as a little reminder, I tell you guys, I know the first baseman knows that a ground ball is coming to you. I know the third baseman knows he's coming to you. But my God, can we give him a little confidence by telling him, hey, man, you and me right here, you're coming to me. Give him a little confidence so he's like, okay, I'm not just going to throw the ball at home plate with the catcher not paying attention. Give him a little confidence, kind of get him in the game a little bit, and tell him, hey, it's you and me with the double play. And then the 1-2-3, same thing, that same situation, same thing for the pitcher, reminding him, hey, you're coming to me on a double play, not going anywhere else. I remember my junior year of college, we lost a game in extra innings to the University of Kansas because we had the bases loaded and 1 out and got that garbage 1 hopper right after the pitcher, right after I had told him, hey, you're coming to me, and he fielded the thing and went to first base. Got our second out. Great job. You got an out, right? We tell our guys all the time, get an out. Okay, great job. You got an out. We lost the game. Lost the game because you didn't throw the baseball to me after I just told you to do that. So remind them. Okay, remind them, hey, you're coming to me on the double play and whatnot. All right. Let me take a break for a second. Okay. When we come back, we're going to go over some drills, receiving drills, throwing drills, blocking drills. We'll take another short break, and we'll go over kind of what we do on a daily basis for our catchers.
If you haven't signed in for your CEU and you're doing them, make sure that you do. Okay, there's 3 or 4 guys that didn't sign out last night or didn't sign in.
We'll pick back up. We're going to show some drills for receiving, drills for blocking, drills for throwing, and then I only have video of one, what I call a combination drill. I didn't get outside to shoot some more here recently, so, but I'll show some drills. And these should be easy drills that you can do, especially in high school. I know that some high schools have more access to more machines. Some have access to no machines. You can do it with machines. You can do it with your catchers if you have more than one, a bunch of different things, okay? So we'll start with receiving drills. Now, everything that we do drill-wise, we'll have two different sets of drills. All right, we'll have block training drills. Block training is literally where you're going to run one thing over and over and over. I'm going to set the machine up, I'm going to set it on a fastball low and away, and we're going to drill it in a block. Boom, 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 over and over, the same exact thing. I know that, as time goes by and more studies are out there, it shows that random training drills, random training is what carries through and translates more than block training in a game situation. But block training, guys, if guys don't have the ability to do something, I don't care how well it translates over, because all it does is translate over with them without the ability to do it. Okay, so for receiving, I have a few examples of some block training and random training drills. For block training, we start very, very simple with some bare hand flips. We've got no web receiving. This is one of my favorite things for young guys. Okay, take a catcher's mitt, take the web out of it. Okay, take the web out of it, make them play catch. Now make sure they have their mask on. Make sure they have their chest protector on when they do this. Make them catch with a glove with no web. Any catcher, former catcher, will tell you you don't want to catch the ball in the web. Right? We're not trying to catch it out here all the time. Catchers should be able to catch any pitch within the framework of their body without the web. So we do some no web receiving and practice catching it correctly. One knee receiving is something that we do a lot in season to save our catcher's legs. Also, though, we did not cover anything about stances today, and I'm not going to either. I teach my guys different ways of different stances, and one of them is a couple different ways to have stances on one knee. Okay, we all watch the big leagues, right? Or at least I hope the guys do, and they come at me and they're like, "Duh, Yadi Molina does this." I'm like, "Well, okay, you're not Yadi Molina, but also okay, we can work with that because if they want it, they're going to try it. I'd rather teach them how to do it correctly and how to do it in a way that helps them rather than them just kind of winging it on their own." Angled receiving is where instead of being straight on, they'll have their body angled. It's to work specific pitches. I have a drill for that here, a video for that. Random training. Random training is where not every single rep is exactly the same. So we'll set up multiple machines. You can set, if you have 2, great. If you have 3 people, great. Guess what? Instead of machines, put in people, okay? Different arms. So that way, we'll set up multiple machines. We have 4 that I can set up for them, so it's 4 different pitches, and we'll just go boom, 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 boom. They get 4 different, and that's kind of one rep. So it just gives them different things in succession. Hops with a single machine is literally where I have them down in their stance, in their squat, and every pitch they catch right after it, they hop. Okay? And I kind of give them a spot that they're allowed to work through. And as they work, the pitch stays the same, and it gives them different pitches to work on. Also keeps them aware of their body and with a good base and does some things there. And then the same thing hops with multiple machines or variable pitches. We'll set that same thing up. It might be one fastball at an angle, one fastball straight on, a slider, and then a breaking ball, or a curveball or something like that. So still couldn't get the clicker to work, guys, so I'm working through using my computer here. So bare hand flips, very simple, okay? Just going to I stand on a knee 10 feet away, and I just underhand flip them baseballs, okay? So all he's worried about right here is catching the ball with soft hands, catching the ball in proper arm position. If you'll notice, his head is going to the baseball, but his body is not getting behind the baseball. Okay, so it gets him comfortable with being able to reach for baseballs without his head or without his body moving. His head can turn to the baseball here. One of those things going back to everything we do is for the umpire. I'm a firm believer as soon as I sway my body behind a pitch, as soon as the umpires are human, we all know that, right? I wish they weren't sometimes, but they're human. They can be visually affected by a lot of things. As soon as they see a catcher move, first thing that comes into their head is, oh, that pitch must be away, or that must be out. If I slide in and get behind the pitch, now I'm obstructing their view half the time, okay? So we want to be able to catch all of our pitches. Our head can go to the baseball, but we teach no sway. I know there's some guys that teach it. I teach it with no sway, okay? No web receiving. So now we only have one no web glove, okay? So he's got the same one on. No web receiving is just, there he is. He's got no web, teach him to catch the ball correctly, okay? It kind of emphasizes a couple different things. One important thing is, if I'm holding the glove, I got my thumb out so you can see it. If I'm holding my glove, the best place to catch a baseball for a catcher is between your index finger and thumb, okay? Not right on it, not on your thumb. You know guys get hurt all the time or come back like, man, look at my index finger, it's bright red and swollen. Yeah, well, you're not catching the ball correctly. Okay, so this is kind of helps them learn how to catch the ball correctly with no web. Okay, angle receiving. So this is angled away. So as you can see, he's set up, and what I tell them is set up so they are parallel with this angle of the plate. Okay, so now if they're set up at the end of the plate, I'm going to have this set up so the machine is down the middle, which obviously puts them as in a position where they're going to have to be reaching across their body. Okay, same thing like with a pitch low and away to a right-handed hitter. That's that pitch that we need to throw, right? That we talk about pitchers throwing all the time right here. How do we catch it well? Okay? So this way I don't have to worry about setting the machine up where he is. It puts him in a position where he needs to work through the baseball. Okay? We got a couple good reps, got a couple bad reps in here. I didn't want to keep shooting until they were all fantastic. Okay? So I'm not a big fan of some of these. But, okay, he's in a position now where he's working across his body to that pitch that's away. It just reps him consistently in that position where, if I set the machine up or if I'm throwing, God forbid I'm throwing, guys, right? I mean, I wasn't a pitcher, okay? I'm pretty accurate out to 130 feet or so, but, from 20, I'm not that great, all right? And so consistently trying to put him in a position to catch this pitch, it's just a little bit easier on an angle. Okay, and then on the flip side, if I angle him in. Now, angled in, there's a lot of debate, a lot of discussion about how to correctly catch a ball that's in and just inside of our left knee. Okay, so what I have here is a video of how we teach it right off the bat, right? Initially, how I would start with a high school kid, how I start with a catcher in college, and that's as the pitch comes in, we're going to turn our glove over a little bit. Okay, that's how we start. That's how we teach it first. Okay, once they get good at this, we practice how to do this without turning our glove over. Okay, if you watch the big leagues and you watch really, really good catchers, they're very seldom going to ever get their glove where it's vertical and pointed up. Okay, and get a strike call. Okay, so now the question becomes, how do I put myself in a position to catch the ball here with my glove still horizontal, giving that umpire the view of the pitch without turning my glove over? What I tell our guys, as soon as I turn the glove over, again, I got that human being umpire behind me thinking, well, I mean, if he has to turn his glove over this way to catch that pitch, I don't know. Now, at the high school level, he wants to call strikes, I get it, so he's probably going to give you the call. But you get kind of that arrogant college umpire, he sees this and he don't want to call that anymore. Okay? So now we'll take this and figure out, okay, now we're only going to stay horizontal and go this way with it. What pitches can I catch that way? How far can I go to present that pitch to the umpire better? So this is the initial, and then we'll flip to the other way, okay? There's a great video out there on YouTube of Caleb Joseph from the Orioles talking elaborately about why he does this, why he practices this versus turning over. But yeah, I saw one guy earlier, yeah, we need to practice this because we can't get here, right? We can't get that chicken wing where the ball, we miss it most of the time. We can't get there. So we need to practice that. But this is our initial start, okay? Two machine receiving. This is a very, very easy example of if you had you and the other catcher while you're drilling one, or you do have two machines. I don't have any videos of 3 or 4 yet. But two machines, so all I have is I have a mini hack set up, angled like in line with the shortstop. It's going to catch me the outside pitch, and then one down the middle. It's going to catch a pitch on the other side of the plate. So he's going to catch 2 pitches in succession. Okay? And we just go back and forth. So he's going to get 4 reps. It goes boom, 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 boom. He gets 4. And so now it's a little bit more random. This is like the initial step into some random training where you're asking guys to do more stuff. Okay, you're asking guys to do more than just, hey, I'm going to throw this pitch over and over and over and over again, you're going to practice it. Again, I think practicing it over and over and over has its place because guys, especially the younger they are, need to learn how to do it right. But once they can do it right, now I need them to have some other things thrown at them, like a baseball game, right? We can call that pitch low and away, and we know that even in the big leagues, guys hit their spot. The best guy, I think, from last year's numbers were like 32% of the time he hit the spot that the catcher set up and showed a target at. And that was the best in the big league. So I'm sure back in the day, Greg Maddox and guys like that were a little higher. But, I mean, we're talking well under half the time. We're not getting the pitch we're calling anyway in the spot we're calling. So this gives them just changing around some location and moving the ball around a little bit. Okay? Now, I mentioned hops with a single machine. So this is just a fastball down the middle, while he's going to continue moving back and forth to put him in a position to catch different pitches. Okay, it's nothing fancy, it's very, very simple, but what it does is it teaches a couple things. One, again, we're moving the baseball around as he moves. He's learning body awareness, he's learning a solid base, he's learning to be athletic, while he's coincidentally learning to catch other pitches in different spots. So every pitch, he's just going to move. Okay? So as he moves, it gets him different pitches. As I keep rapid firing pitches in the machine, they're not always exactly the same. Some are a little lower, some come out better. Guys, one thing on that note, hey, I know a lot of us talk about using baseballs versus like the rubber balls, like the dimple balls for machine work. I'm a huge fan of using actual baseballs if it's out there, if you're thinking about it, because it doesn't do the exact same thing all the time, which is like baseball, okay? Those dimple balls do actually come out the exact same almost every single time. I like throwing the balls with the seams in there. Maybe not like a huge cut, but you know, a couple seams are fraying a little bit. No big deal, right? They got to catch the baseball. Okay, so I like that, which is why you'll see, yeah, it's fairly consistent, but sometimes you're going to get some pitches that aren't quite exactly the same. Okay? Now that's just a few of the receiving drills we do. You guys, you can get creative with your drills. I will caution in a minute, don't get like super overly creative. I've seen some ridiculous things out there that I don't understand how they translate other than like to laugh at a YouTube video or something like that later. But get creative with what you've got. Get creative if you've got machines, if you've got just other people, if you've got other coaches. Guys, if you have a catcher with a little brother, right, he's not going to throw after you all the time. Get them in there. Do some different things that are going to challenge them, but also make sure they're getting repetitions to actually be able to practice. So, block drills, again, we've got some block training and some random training drills. Block training is where they know what they're doing it over and over and over again. It's building that, I'm not trying to work. Drive blocks in 5 directions is literally where I put them behind the plate. I put one ball in front of them, one ball in each corner, one ball further out. So you got 5 baseballs across, and just tell them, go down, drive block a baseball with no baseball in each of the 5 directions, where we get to practice our, practice our push, practice the lead with the glove, practice our chest angles. So I know that as they move to the right, they stay squared up. As they move to the left, we talk about how much angle to get, and we do put some angles. Another big one, guys, when we're talking about leading with the glove and glove to the ground, one of my big things I have to teach guys, teach some of them, remind them all the time. Others, when they're there and they're in their target, they're going to go down to block a baseball. Too many guys want to do this, right? They want to, oh, look how smooth I am as I do this. We're not an infield, we're not fielding ground balls. We don't have a million, all sorts of time here. So we practice straight down. From here, straight down. Okay, as I go straight down. That's a minor thing, but that's how you get beat 5 holes. While you're here, and then this guy goes here in a circle like a steering wheel to get down to block the baseball. Okay? Instead of just straight down. What I tell our guys is catching is not a pretty position. Okay? We do things because we have very little time. We do them in the most direct way possible. And direct way necessary as well. We just don't have enough time. Like that shortstop can look so good on that 3 hop right at him while he moves through a base. We don't have time to do that. We don't have time like a pitcher where I'm controlling my windup with nobody on and how I can do whatever I want to. We don't have time for that. So catching is all about getting stuff done. Roll blocks, where I'm literally going to roll the baseball on the ground at them. Now they get a moving baseball, get something to adjust to while it's just a hair over a dry block. Glove on the ground, we'll do live blocking where they literally start with their glove on the ground. So I'll get them on the machine and they'll start like this. Now this does a couple things. One, it makes them have to push off of their feet and use their feet rather than a lot of guys want to swing with the elbows to go to a baseball. So I would start like this, okay? And also it teaches them, reminds them of the importance of leading with the glove. Okay, so I'll have them start like this, a little awkward for them at first, and then they get pretty used to it once they realize that they're pushing with the right parts of their foot and the right parts of the body and things like that. Then live blocking, self-explanatory, and then block and recover. I've switched here in the last, year or so to putting much more, we do much more work with block and recover rather than just live blocking. Okay? Live blocking is great, it's good. Block and recover, right? If we can't actually recover the baseball. If we don't block in a way that's easily recoverable, it's kind of better feedback, I think, for the catchers when they block the baseball. Instead of just getting up for another rep, if they have to go get it, well, it matters. Right now, it matters a little bit more. They want that ball a little closer. So kind of switched here in the last year or so to more time on block and recover after I saw how it did for the catchers. The catchers start to block better because they don't want to go get the baseball. Okay? They start to fight to block the ball and be able to grab it before they have to move because, not because they're lazy, because they're smart. That's what I tell them. You guys are smart. Random training is where you go multiple machines or pitches. The same thing you could do just 3 different arms if you wanted to, 2 different arms. Yourself, if you just want to kind of rapid fire and go and get after it. We actually do rapid fire blocking, and then multiple blocks, and then lead into a block and recover or a throw to a base. Okay, so we'll set up a number, like 3 different machines. They'll block a slider, they'll block a curveball, and then on that second one, they'll recover it, or on the second one, they'll recover it and actually throw to a base. So I'm not going to show you dry blocks. Very, very simple, right? Yeah, put 5 baseballs out there like we're teaching kids camp, and they go after it. Guys, one of the things I think I hear a lot, and I hear myself saying it sometimes, which is a recommendation to you, don't be afraid to keep things really, really simple for your guys. Okay, I heard Coach Ramona say it yesterday. What do they do every fall and every spring at the start? They go back to how to field the ground ball, and they stay there. And they stay there in their position, they field ground balls. Don't be afraid to show, you don't have to impress them with how much you know, with all these great drills. Make them do things right. So we practice with dry blocks on 5 baseballs, that they're not even touching the baseballs, they're just visuals, okay? They get better from it because they don't want to do it. They don't want to do it, so they do it right. And when they do it right, great, we can move on. Everybody's happy, okay? Roll blocks, literally, guys, it's as simple as this. You roll the baseball. This is kind of a step up from a dry blocking. They like it better because they literally get to react to something rather than sit there with 5 baseballs in front of them, which I get is kind of boring, okay? Now, what you will see here is when he goes to his right, our left, he stays straight up, right? Think about that. Where's his chest? If that ball hits him, it's going to be in front of him. Going to his left, our right, on a left-handed breaking ball, he's going to round that ball off, so when it hits him, it not only counteracts some of that hop up, but if it does bounce off, it's going to be closer to his arm side. Okay? That's how much I tell our catchers I expect out of them. I don't care. I do care. Okay? I don't care so much about the block as where the ball goes. I want them to be able to reach and grab the ball on their arm side. Now, you got to get there, right? We got to get good enough first. I get that. We have to get good enough first. Some guys are just, tickled to death when they stop a baseball and it's in front of them somewhere. But as they get better, and they will get better, I care about exactly where that ball goes. Glove on the ground. Okay, so here he is in his setup. He's starting with his glove on the ground. Guys, get down there here in a minute, right? Get out there, put your glove on the ground. It's going to be so awkward. Okay? Which I like, because now it puts them in a position that they're not comfortable, which means they have to do things right, have to use the right parts of their body to go ahead and go down. Okay? Now this is fairly simple. Alright? Now if you're looking at form itself, this is one guy. He gets too upright sometimes, so his arms getting away from time to time, but this is a good example of him Glove on the ground, glove stays on the ground, glove moves side to side on the ground, and he's squaring baseball stuff right there in the middle of his chest. Okay? Like I said, it gets guys to, you can't kick your feet out with your glove on the ground because you fall on your face. If you do go side to side, you have to push correctly. If you have your glove on the ground and you try to swing your butt, you guys can see it really easily and they feel it. Okay, so now glove on the ground is very simple, but it's a great drill to get warmed up, or as we move into live blocks and block and recover. And then I feel like I don't need a whole lot of explanation here. Block and recover, right? Block the baseball, recover it. Now, what you will see, and one of my big teaching points for block and recover, every single catcher, especially in drill work, because they know it's a block, they know they're going to block it, they know they have to recover it, they don't want to finish the block. Finish the block, let the ball get off of you before you get up and recover. Too many catchers, they know it's coming, right, so they're beating the ball to the spot, and they're already moving to recover the baseball as the ball's hitting them. And now it hits them and it kicks off. I tell our guys all the time, finish the block first. Finish it first so it's a soft ricochet. It's much easier to grab. Finish the block. They know when I say that, that means that they're getting down and trying to get up too fast. Finish the block first, the block's going to be better. Okay? Now, two different schools of thought on how to actually get up from a block to recover. If anybody does ever go on to any of those Twitter sites I showed you or any of the things, Tom Griffin teaches, as soon as you go down, always put glove in hand down on the center, keeps them in a good position. But here's a kid right here, he goes down to a block, he can hop up to a position, an athletic position move to recover a baseball very, very easily. Okay? And then multiple pitches, multiple machines, or like I said, multiple arms. Okay? So we've got a slide, or a curveball, and then a slider. Super easy. This is just two machines. It's a curveball and working from an uncomfortable starting position. You get a guy that's trying to rapid fire block. He's going to block and hop back up, and he's not going to be in that perfect position that he practices so much sitting there. Okay? So it's reaction time, yes, but also working from an uncomfortable starting position. Okay? So he's got to hop back up, and the more you do it, this is just three. So you see, he blocks the first one. The second one, he's in a really good position. Third one, a little bit less because they get tired. I want them to get tired because they're going to be tired in the 6th, 7th inning. They're going to be tired in the 9th inning. They're going to be tired in the 12th inning. Okay? So it's okay to block when they're tired. All right? They got gear on. Right? They're catchers. Again, if they don't want to do this, there's left field, there's DH, there's all sorts of other positions. So rapid fire. This is just three. I'm not sure we've ever actually put a cap on how many we do. We'll have competition days where we're going to do as many as we can until one of the other catchers tells me it was a bad block. Okay, that might be 3, it might be 11. As soon as one of the other catchers says that was no good, we're done, right? And then we have a little competition. So you get a little fun with it. I have no video of this. I have in the past literally just I put tape or chalk or paint around it and said, okay, here's your circle, right? Like they're in the middle of a bullseye or whatever, and here's your point. You can do point systems for them. You can turn into games for them to do some things to have fun. Okay, I think that's important. I think it is important because as much as I just want to work, and get better, they're young guys, right? They're young guys. They need something that keeps their interest. They need something. I like competition. Everybody loves competition. Right? We're trying to figure out all the time how to make our guys compete more, make them care more. Put something on the line. Put a point system in there. Do something like a rapid fire blocking, where how many can you block well in a row, and have prizes or have punishments. I know everybody says like don't have punishments, like reward them. I think punishments have a good place in athletics. Okay, as long as it's not ridiculous. Our guys, I tell them to run stadiums. We have stadiums. We run a little loop up and down, up and down, up and down our stadium steps, and they know when I say, okay, hey guys, we're going to run down what we did today. You've got 5 stadiums. You've got 3. You've done a great job today. They go. They don't question. They just go and they do it. And they know. I tell them to give some time to think about what they did. Oh, okay. Flip that. How does it actually flip? Why did my thing just flip? My thing just flipped from, now they're looking at my computer. Anthony. Mike, a second here. Okay, I think I got it. Hold on one second. Nope. One more time. There we go. Okay. Throwing drills. Throwing drills, same thing with receiving. We've got block training, we've got random training. Okay, block training drills. Block training drills, guys, when it comes to throwing, are going to be more. You can come up with a million block training drills. It's hard to find random training drills that translate into throwing. I've tried. Like, it's just, you're not going to come up with as many. So block training drill will have a clap drill, which is just to get their feet moving. It's a drive drill. Ball foot replacement is a rhythm drill. The one thing I did not bring with me, I don't have any video of, I'm kind of upset about this, is flat glove work. See the infielders with the flat glove to field ground balls with the same thing with our catchers. Have them catch with a flat glove. Footwork and throwing position is where they do their footwork and just get to a throwing position. Then from there we do rock back and throw, and then some live throwing. Random training is where they'll throw to variable bases. So, maybe I put all my catchers out of the base, and as I'm winding up to throw to them, I tell them what base they're going to throw. It just kind of gets them thinking on their feet, more like a game, right? In a game, you don't know if a guy is on first, is he going to steal second? Is he going to get too far off and you're going to back pick? What's going to happen? So it's kind of variable bases. QB footwork is quite literally where I will have them start. I will have them drop back, and I will tell them where to go and move them around. They need to be comfortable on their feet. They need to be able to stay in an athletic position. They need to be able to throw on the move or throw from a position to get their feet under them and make a good throw. They like it because, like, I'll put obstacles out there like garbage cans and fungos and things they need to, you can turn into like an obstacle course for them. And here they are having a great time, and they're getting better at the same time. It's great. And then hops receiving to throw is just another random training where they're going to hop around until we tell them to throw, and then they will. Okay, so clap drill, very, very simple. Here's my tape line. What you'll see, his right foot is going to land right on dead center on that tape line. The left foot is going to be open just off that tape line. As you'll see him, his shoulders are square, his hips are slightly open. Okay? If your hips are slightly open, your shoulders are square, easier to stay on line to second base. This is just a drive drill to get their footwork going. Okay? Very, very simple. Like I said, this is what I do with, kids camp stuff. We do this on the right field line as they're all lined up. It's great for college guys. They'll do it right. They'll do their footwork correctly. Okay? Ball foot replacement is a rhythm drill. A big part of throwing accurately is being in sync, keeping your body in sync. So this is elementary as it gets, but I'll tell them, put that baseball where you want your foot to go. Now, for different catchers, that ball's going to be in different spots. It should always be in the center of your body, but guys with weaker arms, the ball's going to be out in front of them more because they need a little momentum to have their arm play up. The guy doing this drill, that ball is as close to him as is comfortable. I could put that thing behind him, and his arm strength is going to play to second base. It's not a big deal. So this is just a rhythm drill to keep your body in sync. Okay? So he picks the baseball up, steps to where it is, he replaces the ball with his foot, and he throws through. So his whole goal right now is we don't have a mask on, we're not live throwing yet, we're working up, we're building. He's just staying in rhythm. Okay? Rock back and throw. Now we're going to incorporate the backside a little bit, where they're going to get to their throwing position, rock back to load up, and I want to focus on driving off the back leg. Okay, so you can see him. He gets set up to his footwork is where he wants it to be. He's going to pull the ball, get out his front and back arms where they want him to be, and then all he's going to do is drive through off the backside on a straight line to get it through. You can see right there how easy it is for him to get through his throw with his hips slightly open. Okay?
Coach, are you giving him a command to raise his elbows?
No, he's getting. No, that's good. Okay. One of the things that we teach and drill a lot, when I said get into a throwing position, okay? What does every catcher get taught when they're younger and then want to do forever? Forever, right? If you tell them to get in a throwing position where they catch the baseball, they come out and they bring the ball up, right? We've all seen every catcher do that. And then what's the first thing they do if you tell them to get in this position and throw the baseball? They drop the hand right back down. Because nobody throws from here. Okay? So what he's doing is, it's a little bit kind of, while he's getting to where he wants to be, but we teach, and what I teach, and the first guy that ever taught me this was Chad Kruger. For those guys that remember Chad Kruger, who taught in Vegas for like 19 years, finally left and said, hey, why are we doing this? Right? This is dumb. Nobody does this. So we'll exchange, and then all I want them to do is pull the ball out. From here, my throwing cue for them is from here. You know, we want to talk about catching arm circles, throw short, throw from the ear, whatever your word is. What I tell them, as soon as we pull the ball out to here, they can do whatever they want to throw the baseball, as long as they never drop the ball down, as long as it never comes below here. So if a guy pulls it out here, fine. If a guy pulls it out here, fine. Whatever your arm circle is, I want that natural arm circle. I'm not trying to force anything. But as soon as we pull the ball out, which is where we actually throw from if you watch them, we just can't drop the baseball down ever. Do whatever you want. I don't care. I care, but I don't care how far you bring it back. That's going to be kind of an individual catcher's throwing motion. As long as they don't ever from here drop the ball down. So what you're seeing is you'll see him, he's getting himself set up to, he has a tendency to have a low front elbow when he comes out. If you come out, you can come out and transfer right here with your elbows down. But what are you going to do before you throw? You're going to bring it back up. It's not me telling you how you throw. It's everybody. That's how you throw. It's just what happens with catchers. So he's getting to a position where I want him to think about, as I'm transferring, I want to transfer and come out here just because every split second matters. So if I come out here, first thing I'm going to do is waste time getting up while I'm trying to keep my body moving. So what he's doing is he pulls out naturally and you go, I got to work on this, because the more he can emphasize it now, the closer he's going to be to doing it correctly in the game. So it might not be perfect, and I don't need it to be what textbook considers perfect. If we're getting better at it, then it's a win for me. So he's getting himself set up because he wants to get that front elbow up, because that's where he actually throws from. Okay? Then this same drill, but now we're going to throw the last one, and we don't actually throw this one. He's just going to come up into throwing position. Okay? So I got a different catcher here, and you see he's in a little bit lower position. That's how he throws. He throws in a little bit lower position. When I tell my guys, throwing the baseball, you don't have to stay down. I don't tell my guys stay down. Just get in an athletic position. He throws a little bit lower than my last guy. That's okay. We have to get to our throwing position. When I tell them, stay in your legs versus staying down. Okay? So he's going to hop around, and then the last one he's going to throw. You can see his feet are not perfect, but they're pretty good. His left foot is open a little bit. He's here to throw rather than here, because the first thing, again, he's going to do is drop down. So he's in a pretty good position there. Okay? Now, we're going to do one more video, take another shorter break, and then we'll finish up with some daily stuff that we do. Combination drills. Again, combination drills are what you can get as creative as you want. Here's my one suggestion for combination drills. One, do them. So it's two suggestions. First suggestion, do them. It helps your players. It keeps them invested, keeps them engaged. Do them. Second thing is do ones that make sense and that lead into each other. Okay, so I've got two actual pages of examples. One is like you receive a fastball, receive a slider, block, curveball. Right, so we go from receiving to block. Makes sense. It's a progression physically. Throw to a base and then go with a pop-up bunt or double play ball. If you throw to a base, there I am pretty much at home plate. From there I can catch a pop-up, field a bunt. Get a double play ball from there. I'm not running all over the place. It works itself into each other. Block a curveball, then field a bunt or catch a pop-up. Okay? You're not running out to different spots. Receive, block, take that block, turn it into a wild pitch or pass ball. Recovery, flip back to home plate, and turn that into a rundown if you want to. Okay? Do things that lead into each other. Receive a pitch, block a pitch, field a bunt like that. Now we treat it as a runner on third, bad squeeze. We get down at first, come back to the play at the plate. So things that can actually happen or kind of lead into each other. Then obviously you can do, hot switch with two machine receiving, tell them when to throw. You can do that, or rapid fire receiving, tell them when to throw. No look, turn and catch into a blocker throw, which is literally a drill. I don't have any video of it. I'll line up at home plate. Put a guy in front of him like a pitcher, put a guy behind him. And so all they're going to do is, it's a no look, so they're going to, I'll start this way. So on command, they're going to hop 180 degrees, catch a pitch, and go back, catch a pitch, go back, catch a pitch. And then at some point in time, when they get back to the pitcher side, they have to throw to a base or block the ball. So it gets them body awareness, it gets them trying to stay oriented. All those things that can happen are kind of fun for them. You can do receive into a block and recover. You want to get your catchers excited about doing a drill, tell them that they're allowed to be an obstruction for the catchers. Okay? I tell them not allowed to hit anybody in the face, and they can't hit anybody in the arm. Other than that, I will give them pool noodles. I'll give them, wiffle ball bats. I'll give them whatever and tell them while my man is blocking, recovering, throwing to first base, hit him. I don't care what you do. Right? Don't hurt them. Don't kill them. Give them something they're not going to hit somebody with. Okay? We'll do receiving drills and have our other catchers lined up on each side doing whatever they want to. Just it gets them invested, makes things a little bit tougher, giving them obstructions and things like that. You can do throw to a base, turn that into a plate to plate as if it was like a first and third type deal, and turn that plate to plate right into a rundown. Okay, we've all seen that play happen. Maybe not a ton, but you throw a second right, you come home, all of a sudden that guy stops getting a rundown. It gives them not only multiple things to do, but it keeps them a little invested. Now here I just have one simple combination. It's receive fastball, receive slider, block a curveball. So he gets boom, fastball, slider away, block a curveball. Okay? Very simple. It's the only combination drill I've got video, but it's a very simple drill on the coaching side of it. But my player has to see this machine for a fastball, has to see this machine right here for a slider, then has to pick up the far machine for a curveball coming up over the top. So it changes his eyesight where he's picking up baseballs. It changes the look. It makes him do 3 different things. And so it's just kind of a good combination. Okay? Want a second break here for just a couple minutes, and we will go into and finish up with what we do on a daily basis. Actually do on a daily basis. Okay, not one of those like, yeah, we do this daily, but we do it once a week. We actually do this every single day to the point where my guys do it before I'm down there too often when I want to do it with them to make sure they're doing it right, and they're like, Coach, we're ready to go. Like, we already did it. We're 15 minutes early, haven't got started yet. So we'll take just a couple minutes if you want to go to the bathroom or anything, and then we'll come back and finish up. Is 2 reasons. One, as a coach, we all know we got a lot going on, right? We got a lot going on. It's not always easy or feasible to just be there with our guys 24/7 every time they need us, every time they need to get stuff started. So first, I have about 10 minutes worth of stuff that they can do before I get down there. If I need to finish up something else I'm doing, if I need to finish up whatever, I can tell them, hey, go get started. And I've got about 10 minutes while they're on their own to do stuff while they're also getting better. So, what we do every single day, actually every single day to the point where our first individual practice this fall, I told the guys, hey, catchers, 2:30, meet me outside by the hurdles in the cage. We're going to start a mobility work. Okay? In my head, I'm going to reteach the returners, teach the new guys. So at 2:30, I get down there at 2:20, and they are standing there inside the indoor waiting on me. I said, guys, let's go. Let's get outside. And they said, Coach, we're done. I said, what do you mean we're done? We started 15 minutes ago. Did our mobility work already. Did our ball handling. What are we doing today? Well, now what do I do, right? 10 minutes are out. Put them through it again because I wasn't ready to get started yet. But, so we have our daily mobility work. And we use hurdles because we've got them. Guys, you can use anything. You can use nothing. You can use the air if you want to, okay? Our daily mobility work consists of 6 things. Leg swings, hurdles over, under, laterally, hurdles forward and backward, a band hip distraction, partner internal hip rotation, and a 4-way ankle mobility. Okay? Leg swings, super easy. Okay, now you're about to get some videos of me doing stuff because I realized yesterday I didn't have it and we were done with our guys. Leg swing, super easy. We're just getting our hip going. Right? We're just getting the leg swing going. Literally, it's as simple as it gets to get going. This is all about our hip mobility and getting some blood flow in there. Just get our hips going. Okay? So we go forward and backward. We get on the wall. We go side to side. It just is a start to what we're doing. Our second thing. Now we set it up so it's 8 hurdles in a row instead of 2. Okay? I'm only doing 2 for you. Okay? So our guys, if they do 8, they're going to get 4 reps of each. So, but you're going to see 2 forward and backward, okay? over with the right leg first, and then I'll switch to over with the left leg. And then we'll go backwards, okay? The focus here is making sure to get that leg up and over the hurdle, okay? One of the biggest things, guys, I see with high school catchers and college catchers, super just lack of hip mobility. More hip mobility allows them to get lower, allows them to be more explosive, and it takes some time to get it, but it's not hard. It's not hard to just make them do some things, okay? So we'll do hurdles forward and backwards. Now, I'll set up standing sideways, and we'll go laterally, okay? So we'll go up and over one way, okay? And then we'll go under the next one. Now, I want you to reach the leg out to go under, stay low the whole way until the opposite leg is straight, and then come up, okay? And then we'll go the other way. All right, so like I said, we'll have this set up where it's like 8 in a row or something. So we just go down one way, done, go the other way, and we got 4 and 4 on each side and everything. So laterally over and under. The under one is the one that guys can't do at all. They look at me like I'm insane the first day that I ever asked them to do it, and I get out there and say, guys, I haven't done this since last year when I showed you, and I will still do this. Get better. Banded hip distraction, okay? What we've got, a little cameo from Stuart Levy, one of our former pro guys here. He's come down to hit. I said, hey, hold on, I need you to help me out real quick. This is just a band. It's on the top of my hip right here. I'm down in a kneeling position, and what he's doing is giving me resistance while I'm going to move forward and backwards. So not only do I get a hip flexor stretch, that band is pulling my hip socket, or pulling the ball and socket joint. It's putting some pressure on there. It helps to get more fluid into the joint. It also helps a little bit of mobility. Okay, so that forward and backward, so it's pulling it in different directions. It sounds very simple. It is very simple. It does so much more than, like the first time I did it, I thought I was just stretching with a band on me, and then I started doing a little more research into it, and it's just an awesome hip stretch. Partner internal hip rotation. This is for, we know catchers, anybody can kind of do this and move this way fairly well. Lots of catchers can't move internally, okay? Which is something they need to do. I can't get catchers all the time, when they show up, I can't go as simple as, hey, from here, can you touch your knee to the ground? Guys can't do that. And it's just a hip problem, it's a hip stretching problem. So we'll do a partner internal hip rotation. And what I'm going to do is, my knees are now on the side of his knees, so his knees don't go out, and I'm just flaring him out, okay? I've got guys that can go almost at a full 90. He is a little bit tighter than I'd like him to be, but all I'm doing there is stretching him out internally, okay? It's just a stretch that allows them better movement, okay? This is one of the ones that guys get better at really quickly. This is an easy one for guys to show improvement on and feel better. And the last one is a 4-way ankle mobility. So what I've got is a light red band right there. You can do this manually if you wanted to, push it against the partner or something. But I'm just going in 4 different directions. Go down like a calf raise, up, and then sideways. So it's strengthening your ankles, and it's also working on ankle mobility and getting them loose. So it's a really good warm-up, but also a really good exercise as far as literally just getting them better athletically. I love our strength coach. He's unbelievable. Then we have so much time with our guys, right? So what do they focus on? They focus on muscles. They focus on getting stronger. They focus on some mobility work, but not all. So we don't do all that ankle work, all right? Well, that's an important part of catching, all right? So we do an ankle mobility. This entire thing takes them 6, 7 minutes, 5 minutes if they're going quickly, if they're not talking too much, which if they're on the run, I don't care if they're talking, talk all they want to, just get it done, okay? And then we move into ball handling drills. Ball handling drills is hand-eye coordination, just something for them to literally just get better hand-eye, okay? Single arm circles, double arm circles, single arm circle drop. You're going to drop a baseball, pull a circle around it and catch it. Partner standing catch, partner squatting catch, and then partner squatting catch on balance balls. These are the 5 things. So if I tell them, hey, go get your mobility work in, go get your ball handling in, I know I've got 10 to 12 minutes where they're getting better, that they don't need me, okay? Especially in college with the time constraints that we've got, we're limited on how many hours we're allowed. If I tell them to do this ahead of time, they do it because they know it helps them, they kind of enjoy it a little bit, and it doesn't count against us. So single arm circle drops, he's going to start by holding the ball at his shoulder height, hand on top. He's going to drop it, pull a full circle, catch it from on top again. Okay, don't let your guys drop it and catch it underneath. Make him catch it on top. Soft hands, hand-eye coordination, quickness. This is all right hand in the same direction. Make them do it both directions and with their left arm as well. Double, now it's the same thing, but he's doing it with two hands, okay? You should see the first day I ever have them do this. It is embarrassing and hilarious because they're awful at it, okay? This was first take both times for our starting catcher who's a senior who can do this with his eyes closed, I think, now. Now, you should have seen him when I got him. He could not at all. It's kind of funny, but it just gets their hands moving, hand-eye coordination. Double arm crossover is going to be the same thing, but now he's going to catch across. So drop those baseballs, catch the right hand on the left. He's going to cross over, right arm over the first time, left arm over the second time. Just hand-eye, okay? It's something simple that keeps them busy by themselves and gets them better as well. Partner standing catch, I've got him about 6 feet away. This is where I've got a ball in my right hand, my partner has a ball in his right hand. We keep the baseballs on the same side, it doesn't cross over, and we just back and forth. So now we've got both hands moving, all right? We can make this a little more difficult where they can move forward and backward as they go. We can turn this into a competition. Who drops the ball has to do some burpees or some push-ups or something like that. Do the same thing from a squat. Okay, and you'll see in a second, I think they start moving a little bit closer because even the 6 feet gets them a little bored. So you can go back and forth as they're moving. Again, they do this as a competition type thing from time to time. And then also, now you can see that they're squatting on balance balls, where now they're having to put their mental focus on literally keeping themselves balanced and stable while also catching and throwing baseballs with two hands. It sounds kind of silly, but as competitive human beings, the first time I put them on this, oh my God, they were so mad that they weren't better at it. And now they're better at it. And if they're better at this, their body awareness is better. That translates to it just translates to catching. Okay, so we can go through those 6 drills and then 5 drills with ball handling. Like I said, 10 to 15 minutes or something, and I don't need to be there with them. Last thing we do, this is not a daily basis. This is my goal is 2 times a week we do what we call piggy banks. With the idea being you've got to put it in so you can take it out later. If you don't put it in, you can't use it when you need it. Literally like a piggy bank. If you don't put money in, there's nothing to take out. And if you don't put that money in, there's nothing to take out and use when you need that money. So this is them getting reps. This is the time where they show up, they know exactly what they're going to do. It takes us 25 minutes for 2 people. If I get a third person, it takes me 35. I try to keep it to 2. And we go through a little bit of everything. This is the just straight rep. They know what they're doing. Too bad. We do it once or twice a week, and they show up and they know what they're doing. So I'm not going to show any videos of this, but we do footwork. Quick feet, I call it quick feet. You can do whatever you want. Okay, you can call quick feet anything you want. Throw a 2x4 on the ground and make them tap it back and forth. Do whatever you want to these quick feet. Get their feet moving. A plus drill is literally where I put them in the center of a plus. You can either put tape down or do nothing and just tell them to visualize it. And they spend their entire time going, just touching one side, touching the other. Done. Okay. Ladders. A million ladder drills you can do. Okay, for footwork. And then the clap drill, which leads us into some stuff that I showed you earlier. Okay. Then we'll move on to receiving. We'll do some one-knee receiving, especially in season, especially for our starting catcher in season, just to keep some wear and tear. Regular receiving, some angle receiving, and then receiving in our secondary stance. I know I did not cover secondary stance at all. I didn't cover it all today. Go to blocking, and then we can do dry blocks. When the guys get good at it, I have them do dry blocks 5 directions once, done, move on. Roll blocks, we'll roll 3 or 4 at you, done. Move on, now we're live. Glove on the ground. I tell them usually 2 sets of 5. Do 5 in a row, switch to partner, do it twice. Then we'll block live and then block and recover. The general goal is 10 to 15 reps, okay, once we're actually moving. It's just kind of building that up, putting those dollars in the piggy bank, or those coins in the piggy bank. Throwing, we'll do bare hand stuff. Flat glove is the one thing I mentioned earlier that I did not. We put the flat glove on them. I set it up so the machine's right there, dead center, and they work on letting that ball get deep, and boom, transfer. It's another hand-eye coordination thing. Then we do rock back and throw, and then towel drill, which is a live throwing drill, but you've seen pitchers that use towels. Have our catchers do that too, because we can do 50 reps in a row of a tower drill and they're not, didn't put any stress on their arm. So we'll do tower drill throwing just like that. Okay? Like I said, I shoot, and I get my catchers every day, obviously, but I shoot for twice a week with this. I do it in the morning, like between classes, so we're not taking up practice time. I know that's a luxury that we have that you don't, but if you are just trying to fit catchers' work in once or twice a week, give them a script, and they can do half of it on their own. And we know we're getting better. It's kind of my thing. Okay. Last thing is a couple things I tell my guys all the time. First things first, the goal of every day: maximize the day. If we get 10 minutes, maximize your 10 minutes. If we get an hour, we're going to maximize our hour. What are we going to do to maximize the day today? Okay. Second thing is we are what we repeatedly do. This goes for everything in life, but especially catching. Okay. If we repeatedly do good work catching, we're going to be a good catcher. Okay? You guys know this more so off the field, right? If you repeatedly have a guy who's not putting the time, that's who he is. If college guys, if all he is a guy that goes out every night, he's going to show up, he's not going to be very good. We are what we repeatedly do. Thing I remind our guys a lot, often, very, very often, do a little, a lot. I don't need you to come in once a week and give me 3 hours of catching work. But if you give me 20 minutes a day, you're going to be so much better at the end of the week. The way I look at it is this: give me 15 minutes a day. Okay, I'm just kind of doing math off the top of my head. That's an hour and 45 minutes of catching work. When is your catcher going to come and do an hour and 45 minutes of catching work on one day? He's never going to do it. So if he gives me 15 minutes a day, which every single one of those guys say they can do, it's an hour and 45 minutes at the end of the week. Rather than coming twice a week for half hour and then we get an hour of work. Everybody tells me they can do 15 minutes. So do a little and do it a lot. Last thing is make your best ability your dependability. It's very big in coaching, obviously, and I fall prey to this all the time, right? We want to work on our weaknesses, right? Hey, you don't block very well, we're going to block today. Yeah, we can throw the hell out of it, though. We don't need to worry about that because you can throw. Guys, make sure you're coaching and make sure you're repping your guys' best abilities, because if their best ability is not their dependability, it's no good. It doesn't matter if my guy can throw the lights out. If we don't practice it, it needs to be there every day. Okay? Think about the big leagues sometimes right now. You got some guys in the big leagues that have one tool, two tools. But those tools are there every day, and they're really good at it. Okay? Make your best ability your dependability. Work on your strengths, maybe not quite as much as your weaknesses, but make sure your guys do work on them, because it's easy to turn a strength into just kind of an above average if you don't continue working on them. Okay, so also the guys like it, right? They like to work on what they're good at. It makes them feel better. But it's easy as a coach to say, we're not going to work on that, you're really good at that. Well, we need to make sure that guy stays really, really good at that. Okay? Again, this is what I start and finish with every single day. They see this every day in their locker. Defensive run save is greater than RBIs. You will never drive in more runs than you will let in. I'm not 100% sure that's completely accurate, guys, but I just keep drilling it into their head so they believe it. All right? So they believe that it's more important what they do on offense or on defense than what they do on offense. Last thing, guys. Hey, here's all my contact information. What I've got, if you're interested, my name, obviously my email address. I'm on Twitter. Put that up as a way to get in touch with me if you want to. I honestly, guys, I don't post a whole lot on Twitter. I look at Twitter. I love watching Twitter coaching stuff. I don't do it. I see too many arguments that I just want no part of. Okay, but you can get in touch with me there. And then my phone number, that is my cell phone. If you have any questions, seriously, I don't care. I'll take a text at any point in time. I cannot promise I'll answer a phone call. A lot of numbers I don't know. I can't answer them all because most of the time it's one of your players' parents or something trying to call me because they want to talk about their kid. So I don't answer a phone number I don't know typically. Text me. I'll answer a text 90% of the time within like 15 minutes. 90% of the time. Feel free. I don't mind. Okay. Also, all the videos that I have are on YouTube. They're not public though. So if you want to text me or email me for links to any of those, I will send them to you. Okay. If you have any questions, anything like that, anything, I'll talk catching all day. Okay. Then we gave you 2 hours. I'll do this all day. So feel free. Seriously, it doesn't bother me at all. Okay. It almost is the other way. I feel like if nobody gets in touch with me after, it's like, geez, I either did the best job ever, which I know it's not true, or just a horrible job that nobody cares at all. So, all right. I'm done. Thank you so much, guys.
All right, guys. brakes